this is Alchemist 2, and I'm back again with a book review, actually. A little bit something different. The book itself is really not all that long, honestly, but it is really profound. This book talks about the space program, how that space program has long since failed, but the hope is still there. Wow talks about how that desire to discover things outside of ourselves still exists. And he speaks of calculus being the language that God speaks, and how Newton had discovered that. And there's actually a really fascinating, if I can find it, quotation. I don't know if it's in the first chapter or not, but I'm trying to find it. There it is. And it's on page 15. And Herman quotes this, and it says, "I know not what I seem to the world, but to myself I seem to have been only like a boy playing on the seashore, and diverting myself in now and then, finding a smoother pebble or a prettier shell, whilst the great ocean of truth lay all undiscovered before me." And that's actually one of my favorite quotes for the book, and I wanted to preserve it. He speaks of his friend who actually wrote, was responsible for Fiddler on the Roof, the original story, and he went by a pen name, and he said he related quite a bit to Tevye, and the tale of tradition versus modernism, and how in Israel it seems that that tradition is kind of being pushed by the wayside and it's becoming obsolete, but in all for all intents and purposes, I still think that the tradition is important. You have to have some sort of gauge to live for with which to live by. um, Laws, regulations, rules, whatever it may be, in order to avoid chaos and anarchy. But it just there's so many different subjects that are discussed within the duration of the book itself. It doesn't really explain the language God talks, other than the two different languages being Aramaic, Aramaic or Hebrew, and calculus, and just the fact that only a few people really understand. And Mr. Wow, he studied the Talmud, not really that diligently, but he understood the story of Job, and there was a rabbi who would say, well, Job is just a byword. He's a fable. He doesn't exist, and he didn't agree with that. He said, well, Milton would never have been able to express the struggle of man just so poetically and with such humanness, as well as hope, and trying to understand why good people are punished, and there's just so many vast areas of discussion here. It's more like a treatise, kind of like Self-Reliance, if you've ever read it. It's Self-Reliance in and of itself is a little bit more in depth and profound, even though this is unbelievably deep and pithy. And it talks about his experience with World War II and the ethnic cleansings, and just the fact that despite all that, he's still happy to be Jewish, and it's a sense of national pride that you get from him, and I really enjoyed that. And one part I really enjoyed quite a bit was the brackets, when he's talking about Israel being the bracket of his origin, and I thought, wow, that's really poetic and beautiful. And it's really quite a fantastic book, and just astronomically well written. And the end talks about Adam. Well, there's a song, well, Job as well, and it's just very, very, very meaty. And I actually really recommend this book if you want to make yourself think, if you want to make your synapses hum, then I highly, highly, highly recommend the book. And give it a chance and sit down and read it sometime because you'll gain insight from it, because I know I did, especially considering the space program. And to which I add, I know that what they said, and what Feynman tried. Actually, he got a chance to talk to Feynman, which I thought would have been fascinating. He's so lucky to have gotten a chance to talk to his hero. This man. He helped with the space program, and he revealed the structural deficiency within Challenger itself. It couldn't tolerate cold temperatures, or the O-rings would just collapse. They would break because it was so cold. But it was Feynman that discovered that, and if it hadn't been for Feynman, then a lot of improvements would not have been made for the shuttles themselves. But it's just thought, whoa, this man he's genius, and he had just so much insight to reveal, and I absolutely love that. It was so dazzling, that intellect. And he didn't really have a chance to make much more of an impression than what he did, but I feel like he'll always be one of those people that will be remembered for his contributions, and for that mind that he possessed. And I'm happy that Herman got the chance to speak with him, because it was very revealing and inspirational. So get a chance to pick this book up if you have the chance, because it's a different and unique book, and it will challenge you. I guarantee you that.